to India and Ireland, round Africa and back again. We don't really need to know just where we'll go. Maybe Canada, then to Brazil, then through the Alpine foothills. All I really want to know is, can we go? Oh baby, can we go? Round and around the globe.
Welcome to Take Me With You, episode 169. I'm Ryan,
And I'm Cheryl. We are two well-traveled people who want to go everywhere.
but that's not going to happen. So instead, we'll travel vicariously by inviting a guest to share their unique travel stories with us.
Today, we are going to do a tourist day in Seattle.
With us!
With us!
We're going to do a tourist
Oh my
day.
gosh, we're actually in person, which is very exciting.
Yes.
We're not in person very often.
No.
And this is also the last official episode of Take Me With You.
Yes, which is sad.
Yeah, that is.
But-
That is sad.
But we were talking about how should we wrap it up, and we thought
Mm-hmm.
we should go out with a bang. And so we're going to do all sorts of really fun, exciting things today, Cheryl.
Yeah, so let's get going.
Let's do it. But yeah, I'm pretty sure this is the first time we have actually gone out and done something
Oh,
since the pandemic.
that's weird.
Isn't that weird?
Well, yeah, COVID also feels like it's been 1 million years and also like 2 seconds. I think it just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
weird.
it's so bizarre. And also, it seems to me like we're in this weird place of normal but not normal.
Yes.
Like, it's faux normal. Like, on the surface, it
Yes.
seems like it should be normal, but when you dig down deeper, it's still not normal.
Yeah, like you still have to wear masks and you have to like show a vaccination card to dine at a restaurant or all
Yep.
sorts of things like that.
Yep.
And then people are doing things. People are gathering. Theaters back.
Yep.
Like traveling. All sorts of things.
But still less than normal. Because
Uh-huh.
at least for me, when I commute in the morning, it's not as, like, zero as it was during the height of all the lockdowns, obviously.
Yes, totally.
But it's still not back to pre-COVID levels.
But I don't think it ever will be for commuting.
Well, I mean, I
Because-
think given enough time, the city is going to get bigger, and then it obviously will.
Well, yeah, but I think I don't know. Like if you went with like population levels, like if you assume the city didn't grow, I don't think commute will ever like fully get back to how it was.
And I'm okay with that.
Oh, I mean, me too.
Because more people are being remote.
Yes.
Yeah,
there
or
are
even
so many
partially
people.
remote.
Mhm.
Because isn't that what you've been doing?
Yeah, right now I'm at home 2 days a week and in the office 3 days.
Right. So even if everybody did that, that would still, and it was different days,
Yeah,
it
that
would
would
still
still-
reduce traffic
Totally.
overall.
I think the sad thing about going back to working from home for me was like, oh, we're back here again? Like, it does feel like moving backwards. It's kind of
Yep.
like when the mask laws came back
Right, because they went away,
in like August.
and then they came back.
which
Yep.
was glorious. And then
Yeah.
it was like, oh, just kidding. Just kidding. We thought we were making progress with this. Yeah, so it is weird. Or like, I work in the events industry.
Yeah.
And early COVID, there were so many laws around, like, you can have 50 people, you can have 200 people. Like,
Right.
it has to be outdoors, it has to be whatever. Like, it was very strict. And now it's not.
Yeah.
And so it's much more like, you do you, but be quote-unquote, like, COVID safe. Or, you know what I mean? Like, and so
Right.
we have all these clients who are like, oh, well, how is your staff following COVID procedures? Or, like, how can this be, like, safe and whatever that means to each person? And a lot of people are just, like, asking their guest group, like, do you want to come in person? Are you comfortable with
Right,
it? And so it's
yeah.
much more about, like, personal comfort, which is really then just, like, opinion,
Yeah.
for what group.
Yeah.
Oh, we might get a few.
We might. I can see maybe some sun poking out over
Ooh,
there on the other
okay.
end there.
Okay.
So we might luck out. So I would say let's head towards Cary Park.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good.
And then if we are on our way and we're like, meh, then we can change our mind.
Okay, so we're almost at Cary Park.
Yes.
which is, if you've seen that picture of the Seattle skyline, chances are pretty high it was taken from Cary Park.
Yep.
If it's a little more from above, because it's on a hill.
Yes.
It's in the Queen Anne neighborhood. And we were just talking about, when did you find out about Cary Park?
I don't remember. I don't think I knew about Cary Park growing up, ever. Like, I don't remember it growing up, even though we grew up in this area. So I think it was maybe in college or an adult or something. I mean, maybe it was late high school, but I don't remember. And I think I've only been to Cary Park, I think maybe twice in my life.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I've been many times. I learned about it in my 20s, though.
Okay, yeah.
And it's now like the place I will, whenever I take a friend who's from out of town, I always start at Cary Park.
Yeah.
Like, let's get into Seattle, get into the city, and then first let's drive up Queen Anne Hill and go to Cary Park. You get the view, you get the picture, unless it's really foggy, which it is this morning. So we were like, should we even go? But we went over the bridge into Seattle and it got all clear and sunny.
I mean, there's still some clouds out, so it's not like it's clear and sunny in the Seattle clear and sunny sense.
I mean,
we can see blue sky and we can see sun on buildings and on the street.
I see sunlight, which
Yes.
feels like sunny to me, especially in the winter. When
Yes.
the sun pokes out at all, I'm like, oh,
That's
it's
true.
sunny.
That is true.
But it is such an interesting park because it is a tiny strip of grass
Yep.
and just in a little neighborhood.
Yep.
And so it's like, is there parking on the one street or is there not? And right now
Yep.
there is, because it's January and it's 40 degrees outside.
Yeah, and it's not like early in the morning, but it's not even 10:30 yet.
Yeah.
So it's still early enough on a Saturday that a lot of people are still at home, and
But I think we're going to get a view.
I think we are. Well, if nothing else, just beautiful view of the water because
I know. All right, so that was really fun.
Yeah.
And the sun is out.
Yeah, it's kind of backlit, so I'm kind of squinting, but yeah, it's pretty cool. It's not super busy, although just in the 10-15 minutes that we've been here, we've definitely seen an increase in the number of people and cars kind of driving down and parking, because this whole strip where we parked was pretty much free of cars when we arrived, and now there's sort of a growing line of cars.
Yeah.
It's not crowded, but it's also not a very big park. So
yeah, it's like a little strip of grass. So that'd be something to consider if you're going to Cary Park, is where's the sun going to be if the sun is out. And if you want the skyline to not be backlit, maybe don't go when the sun is directly behind the Space Needle.
Yep.
So we got some very dramatic photos of the skyline.
Yep, we did.
I've also been here one time. There was hardly anybody here when I got here, and then a tour bus pulled up and 1 million people got out. So this is now a popular enough location, probably because of the internet and social media, that people know about it, that, like tour buses are coming here sometimes.
Yep. The other thing that was kind of cool when we got out and we're looking is we think we might actually have been able to see all of the sites we're going to visit today.
I know.
From here. There's one we're not quite sure yet, but we'll have to go down, and when we get there, we'll know if one, kind of the dome, was actually part of it or not. But that's kind of cool that I hadn't thought of.
That's really fun. So we'll definitely post that. Maybe we can put some arrows and text on that picture and post it to show everywhere where we're going today. But yeah, I would definitely recommend Cary Park, and you can be here for 10 minutes and be fine, honestly. You don't need to spend a ton of time here, although there are benches and it's a lovely view. So if you wanted, there were some people who were sitting there for the whole time we were here.
Yep. And what I didn't know is there's some stairs that go down, kind of down the hill, and there's a little children's playground area and things. So if you had kids and you needed to just have them run around, you can come for the view and then send them down and play on the playground for a while.
That's very true.
Get some energy out. So
yeah, and you can also watch ferries go by
on Puget Sound.
So that's a very Seattle thing, in addition to seeing the skyline, is seeing the ferries.
Yep. All right, Cheryl, I think it's time for us to go to the next stop on our adventure.
Let's go!
So we've done how many loops? 2 loops to look for parking
near the Space Needle.
near the Space Needle. And
The Space Needle, if you don't know, is like there's a lot of activities all in this big section called Seattle
Center. Yeah, Seattle Center.
And so there's like the ballet theater, the Space Needle, the Mopop, the Glass Garden, the Science Center.
The
center.
stadium for Climate Pledge Arena, which you didn't know the name of, for the Kraken, our new hockey team.
Used to be Key Arena,
Yep.
and it's still Key Arena in my heart. Sometimes there's like concerts there and stuff
Yep.
like that. Something called the Center House.
Yep.
Which is like a big food court that also has activities
Yep.
at it sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
There is a lot of parking in this area. You have to assume you're going to pay for it.
Yep.
It would be a miracle if you could find free parking around here. I don't think you can.
I don't know if there's any spot. Like there's street parking, but that's part of why we've done multiple loops is all the street parking is taken. And so then it's just a matter of finding which lot and how much are you willing to spend. And we've seen, what was the highest we saw? 27
27 for all day.
for all day.
Or it's a Saturday today.
Yeah.
And so there's plenty of spots. But definitely it's one of those things, both of us live in more of like a suburby area where we don't normally have to search this hard for parking.
Yep.
Or pay for
Or
parking.
pay for it.
So you're going to want to give yourself time. Like our next stop is the Space Needle. And we had to like choose a timed entry for it. And we figured like we're going to need some time to find parking and then to walk there. And
Yep.
maybe a COVID check. We'll find out what that entails.
Yep.
So anyway, we found parking and we're paying $10 and we feel good about it.
Yeah, and we'll walk a little bit farther, but it's sunny today. It's not raining, which is not always the case in Seattle, and we don't mind walking. So
Yeah. Here we go. Oh, they're about to let us in.
Oh, well, okay. Well, we're going to get on the elevator then. How about that?
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Going 5 miles or 8 kilometers per hour, which makes this an 82-second trip from when we started moving. The Space Needle was built as the centerpiece of the Century 21 World's Fair, which was right here in Seattle Center back in 1962. Apparently, the Space Needle was supposed to be a mix of the Eiffel Tower, a rocket ship, and a flying saucer. Best way to explain that choice is, it was 1962. Now we are headed up to the very top level, which is 52 stories, 520 feet, or 158 meters off the ground. The very tip of the needle is 60 stories, 605 feet, or 184 meters. The revolving glass floor is at 50 stories, 500 feet, or 152 meters. And the revolving floor is the level where you go to catch the elevators to exit the building.
The gaps.
Yep, it's open air up at the top, but it's not all glass on the floor, which makes me happy. 'Cause I thought it was all glass on the floor.
Oh.
I think there's a spot where there's glass on the floor, I think.
Okay, well, we'll have to see if we can find it. This
But-
looks so much better than the old version.
Oh my gosh, so much better. And
Because it used to be like, almost like looking through a chain link fence, but not
yes.
quite.
Yes.
And now it's just glass, so
And-
you get the whole view.
Yep, and the indoor, they painted all white, so it's so much brighter. Because it used to be a very
feels-
dark color, I remember.
Feels way more futury, space agey, like I'm in an episode of Doctor Who.
Yes.
So I like that.
And then I got super excited because as we were going up the elevator, we are high enough now to see over some of the clouds, and we can see Mount Rainier, which makes
I
me so happy.
know.
It's like one of
Oh,
the best
beauty.
things.
So great.
Okay, so we are at the top of the Space Needle,
Sure are.
sitting on a glass bench.
It is a sunny, clear day.
Yeah.
So we're actually like on the outdoor observation deck.
Yep, which is uncovered.
Yes, I was actually surprised. I thought it was going to be covered.
But I mean, they've got so much space inside now that they didn't used to have.
Yeah,
So
that's
if
the
it was
nice
raining, you could be inside and still see, I think, pretty well.
I know. It actually gives you like 2 levels of like spots because yeah, you get like almost just as good of a view. The only downside to the inside is if there's a bunch of people outside in front of you.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, other
and-
than that, it's a really good view from the inside.
And what they have, like I think you mentioned earlier, they used to have like metal grating, sort of a thing that kind of obscured, and now it's just clear really thick but really clear glass, so there's very little obscuring the view, and it comes all the way down to meet the floor. So you can come right up to the edge and look almost straight down through the glass, which you couldn't really do before. You could look almost down, but there was like a little, kind of cement ledge or something. So it feels a whole lot more like you can look much closer.
And we
to
are
the
on
edge.
a bench that is angled downward towards the outside, leaning against the edge, which is like a little disorienting, and now I'm getting used to it.
Are you?
So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it is, because yes, it tips you down and back.
Which is good for photos.
It is good for photos,
Yeah.
and I think that's part of it. One of the other things that I think is kind of cool is they did in a couple of different places, they have a spot where you can scan your tickets, and then they have an automatic camera set up to take pictures of you, and then all you have to do is go and like download them with your ticket.
You're gonna have to make a login.
Well, I'm probably gonna have to make a login, but it is free. It's included, so you don't have to
really
pay
cool.
for that.
I know, that's pretty neat. I like that a lot.
Yeah, and there's in a couple of key spots with some key things to see behind you. We got one of them to work for sure, and the other one, we don't know yet if it worked.
We will find out.
Because we did it, but there's like, you look up to look at the camera, and then they have a little, almost like a mini tablet, like iPad sort of a thing that does a countdown. But the first one we did, the tablet never turned on, so we don't know if it's because we did it wrong or if because maybe it's just not working.
So there's either 3 pictures of us in that spot or 0.
Exactly.
The indoors no longer has a gift shop in it. There's a gift shop at the base of the Space Needle, but not up here, which I really like.
Yeah.
It's just white, and there's restrooms and the stairs and the elevator, and a bar. So good on them, because I'm sure that's a moneymaker to be able to have like a glass of wine while you're at the top of the Space Needle without being at the restaurant. That's pretty fun. I even saw someone with like a little meal of some sort, like a little like sandwich or salad.
Yeah,
or something
but I'm
like
not
that.
sure if he brought that himself or if it was.
But that's fun.
Here, but
this is great.
It
Huge
is.
improvement.
Oh yeah, it's so much more open. You can see things better. There's lots of space. It used to feel inside, at least what I'm remembering. I mean, I was a kid at that point, but like, it was still pretty crowded. I felt like inside. Now, it's not a super busy day today. It's cold outside.
And it was a timed entry. I love a timed entry now.
The timed entry makes a huge difference because it's not just everybody who shows up. They can control exactly how many people are here. So all of those things, it's cool.
And then when we were waiting in line downstairs, there was this whole wall in the line that was like the history of it with photos and stuff, which was really cool. However, there wasn't much of a line, so we kind of walked past it.
Yep.
But if we had to wait in line, I would have enjoyed reading it. But I think
agree.
neither of us felt like we wanted to read that many signs.
No. But I agree. Like, I appreciate that if the line was really long to get to the elevator that takes you up, it did do a good job of giving you something to look at. And we've said actually a couple of times, there's several things that feel a little Disneyland-esque in that aspect, I think.
Including the person who we just saw cleaning the window.
Yeah.
How nice. I really appreciate that, actually.
Yeah, because I'll bet you people touch the window all the time.
Oh, my goodness. They have to clean. They go through a lot of Windex in this place, I'm telling you.
I'll bet they do.
Yeah, so honestly, like, it used to be that some people would recommend going up another tower instead of the Space Needle. Was it like the Columbia Tower?
I think so, yeah.
Which is also paid and also not cheap anymore.
Right.
But honestly, with this upgrade, with the glass walls and stuff, now I haven't gone up the Columbia Tower, but this is a pretty big upgrade where I'd say, you should go up the Space Needle.
I think so too. Yeah, no, I agree. This is definitely enjoyable.
Oh yeah.
You know, I think it feels like, hey, this is cool. You get to see cool things. You can walk around. It feels very intentional, very modern.
Yeah.
But also in a retro sort of way.
Yes. Yeah, I love it. And there's mountains in like several directions.
Yes.
So I love that.
I love. And the water, you can see Puget Sound. We've already seen the ferry.
Yeah.
Oh, and we're pretty sure that we did actually, in fact, see. We can see actually from where we're sitting right now. We can see Cary Park.
Yeah.
Where we were originally.
That's
so
great.
We're kind of looking back at where we started the day, which is super fun.
Yeah, I love it.
And can see all of the different things that we saw from there. It's just now we're on this end, which I think is pretty cool.
And I've never gone up here at night, but I would like to at some point. It would be fun.
Yeah,
on
I
a
think
clear night. It'd be fun.
I think it
to go
would
up
be
here.
pretty, especially in the summer if it was not super cold.
Yeah.
So I think it could be pretty cool.
All right, well, should we continue?
Let's keep going.
All right, okay, bye. There.
Okay, Cheryl, we thought we were done,
We thought we were done.
but we're not. Where are we?
So now we're on level 1, I think they said,
Okay,
of the Space Needle.
the top of the Space Needle.
Yeah, we're at the top of the Space
So we
Needle.
went down like 2 flights of stairs.
Yes. And we're on the restaurant level, which we've talked about on our podcast because I've eaten here a couple times.
Yeah, me too, for special occasions.
Before they renovated it, you couldn't go to this level unless you had a reservation or like we're dining
Right.
at the restaurant.
And the restaurant was cool because it revolves.
Yes.
So slowly, like, goes around.
In an hour, it does a circle.
Oh, is that how long it takes?
Yeah, a full
Okay.
rotation.
Okay.
And so it is a little disorienting because you step onto floor that is moving and you're already up high.
Yeah.
And also some of the floor is glass.
Well, it is now, which it didn't used to be. So also you had to be, I think you said this, you had to have a restaurant reservation
Yeah.
to come to this level. Now you don't.
You just stand here and watch.
And actually you have to come down because you have to come down to this level to exit.
Yes.
And so so we are standing on the revolving portion right now.
So now our view is changing, which is
Yeah.
really fun.
It is fun. And thankfully, and so they've got these thick panes of glass that are underneath you, but then they also have sections that you can stand on, which is what we are standing on
I
right
know.
now.
I'm a little uneasy right now.
That are not glass. So you can come to the edge of the window, and this is inside. This is all indoors now, underneath what we were up walking on up above. So they have these little strips of just black floor, so you can come out to the edge and revolve without having to stand on the glass, which I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I haven't yet decided what I feel about the glass because I haven't looked directly down yet.
Yeah, I'm not too comfortable, but I like looking out. Looking
Yeah.
out is fine.
Yeah, and there was also, we both had this sense when we were standing on the not moving portion, and because the inner ring is not rotating, and then the outer ring is rotating, and so they have like a little spot that's in between the two, and while you're standing still and you look out, there's this like half second where you feel like you're moving even when you're not on the moving part.
It's scary.
And it's very disorienting.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
This is cool though. I like it.
It is very cool. I think I'm gonna try looking over the edge and see if I die.
There's
I mean,
the
I know I'm not gonna die, but yep. Oh, so we're actually directly below the bench where we were when we recorded the last
Yeah.
segment.
Yeah.
Okay, let's give this a try, Cheryl. Are you gonna come any closer? Or are you gonna stay where you
Yeah,
are?
I'll go.
So let's stay not on the glass first. Oh
Ooh.
gosh.
Oh, there's the elevator.
Yep, there's the elevator. Okay, looking down. Okay, it's not terrible. I think the glass is pretty fuzzy on the ground.
That helps.
So I think it actually does help. And there's 2 layers of glass. So there's the layer that we could walk on, and then there's space and there's the support
Ooh,
beams.
you can see the cogs.
Yeah, and the gears, which I think is cool.
Wow.
And so you can see the metal beams that support it, and then there's another layer of glass underneath that. And the glass looks very, very thick. Okay, I'm going to try this. Cheryl, are you going to try it or no?
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh boy, I feel.
but I'm going to step without looking first, I think.
Oh, I feel weird.
I know, I do
feel
too.
weird.
But it should be fine. It should be fine. It's fine, right? Okay, it's fine. Right? It's fine. Like there's no cracking. Oh,
I don't know. I feel.
you don't have to do it. You do not have to do it. It's totally fine. I'm going to, with my camera, I'm going to take a picture of my feet, but I'm not going to look when I do it because I don't know that I can handle that.
I can watch
I'm pretty sure.
it for you.
I'm pretty sure that I don't look down, but I feel like I need to. But maybe I don't.
You can do it and then step back immediately.
That's true too. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, actually, it's not that bad.
Okay.
It's not that bad because the glass is so like fuzzy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't feel real, but I'm going to step back over here anyway.
Isn't that weird?
It is weird.
Nothing's actually different, but
No,
it feels
it's not any different.
little
And
scary.
and this is one of those where I've always described myself as not afraid of heights, but afraid of falling from heights.
Yeah.
So as long as I don't feel like I'm going to fall, I'm usually good. That's why like I can be up on the top of the Space Needle. It's no
I know,
big deal.
but looking at your feet with nothing underneath it,
Exactly.
yeah.
But that's why I think the fact that the glass is pretty like fuzzy right now, and like it's got a light film on it,
Yeah.
actually helps. I think if it was totally transparent, I might not be able to handle that.
Which is funny because I've heard about buildings like there's one in Chicago
Yeah.
where you can walk out, and I always thought, oh, of course I'd be fine with that. And now I'm like, no.
Oh,
no,
see,
no,
and
no, no.
I knew that I might have issues with it.
I did not know that about myself.
Oh,
yeah.
you've learned something about yourself.
That I am more scared than I thought.
But this is actually very, very cool. I like it, and I do like the you can see kind of the gears that move, that make the whole thing rotate
Yeah.
because it's glass, which I think is very, very cool.
I also love that if it were raining, what a nice spot.
Oh, yeah.
View outside. I love it.
Yeah, it's very cool. And then I also think it's a cool idea too, just from them marketing wise, because now we're down on the restaurant level, so you can't peek into the restaurant per se, because they've got some kind of like frosted glass like partitions up, but you know that the restaurant's there, so it's a
smart.
good advertising
So
for
smart,
them too,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it.
One of Seattle's original neighborhoods. The large building you see on top of the hill is the old Queen Anne High School, which opened in 1909, but is now luxury condos as of 1983. To the right of Queen Anne Hill, you can see freshwater Lake Union that connects out from Lake Washington to the east and Puget Sound to the west. It's home to Kenmore Air, where you'll see our seaplanes take off and land there all the time. Downstairs, restrooms will be to your right. The monorail, which takes you downtown, will be straight ahead, and Chihuly Garden and Glass to the left. Have a great day, everybody, and thank you for visiting.
All right, so where are we and what are we doing now, Cheryl?
So we went down the Space Needle, and now we are getting some lunch, and we're in what we call the Center House.
Yes.
But what is actually now called the Armory, which
Yeah.
sounds like it makes no sense.
Yeah, I don't know why it's called the Armory, because there's no weapons in here, and there never have been as far as I know. But it's basically a food court.
Yeah, with a stage.
With a stage, yeah. And you were just asking if I'd ever been here for an event.
Yes, yeah.
And why were you asking that question?
I was just curious. Like, I think I went here, like, on a field trip even one
Okay,
time.
sure.
And I don't remember if we went to see something, but I've been here when there have been events multiple times.
Oh, yes, me too.
In the winter, there's, like, a little Christmas village. Well, it's not little. It's
Oh.
miniature, but it's giant. Have you been
Oh.
here for that? This
don't-
floor is taken
Oh,
up by, like, a
no.
little Christmas village with, like, a train running through it.
Oh.
It's big, though.
Oh, yes, I have seen that at some point.
I bet you have.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Yes, and I was actually remembering the last time I was here, I think it was to see one of the Star Wars movies in IMAX with my friend Kyle.
Uh-huh.
And I'm pretty sure there was a yo-yo competition going on in here. So
Was
there
it
were,
cool?
It was kind of cool because, I mean, people who are really good at whatever their thing is,
Oh, yeah.
is always
That's true.
fascinating. And then, of course, they were selling yo-yos. I mean, it seriously
cute.
it took me back to elementary school. Because I don't know about your elementary, but there seemed to be, maybe not every year, but frequently in elementary, they would have, like, a yo-yo person come. His name was Arnie Dixon, and he would come and they would do things, and then they would like sell yo-yos, and they'd like do it in PE for a while or whatever.
Okay, I don't know if I've ever seen that, but it feels very elementary
Yeah,
school to like
yeah.
have some weird talent / activity that like maybe you'll get into this, children. Like,
Exactly. Yep. And I
Yeah.
was never good at it ever.
Yeah, I think I've definitely seen like choirs on this stage at different points.
Yeah.
Like some sort of like international something, you know, like
Some competition of some kind.
yeah, there's
yeah.
just assorted activities here. Probably way less right now, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I would guess so.
And but this is a fun spot. It's like I don't know. We walked for like 2 minutes from the Space Needle. It's very close.
Oh,
to
yeah.
the Space Needle. We walked past the Glass Garden, and there's a lot of different restaurants in here. So that was
Yeah.
exciting. We had no idea it was going to be here anymore because we
No.
haven't been here in so long. But I think it's a good spot to like meet up with people or like
Yes.
have a good like meeting point for because you could have a big group here and pull some tables together and
Yeah.
everybody get what food they want.
Yeah.
And it's all like very food court type of restaurants, which
Yeah.
good options.
But while it is a bunch of food court type options, most of them are not ones that I've heard of from other places. I guess only like 2. There's a Subway and there's a Mod Pizza.
Wing Dome.
Yeah, but is
It's a
Wing
chain.
Dome outside of this area? Oh, hey, there we go. We got our food. Time for our food.
There's also a museum inside of this place, like on the lower floor.
Yes.
So you'd enter through somewhere else, but you can see part of it. There's like fake trees and mountains
Well,
and
it's
stuff.
because we enter. It feels like it's. Well, you enter from the ground floor, but then there's this kind of just opening that shows down one floor.
To the Children's Museum.
Yeah, which I don't know that I've ever actually been to.
If I have, I was like a young child.
Yeah, because I definitely don't remember ever going. But one thing I do remember is they do, and maybe this is what you were saying earlier about them doing the Christmas Village. They used to have a train and things that was in there.
Oh, I think that's different than what I'm picturing with
Okay.
the Christmas Village,
Okay.
but that's cute.
Because they used to have like a Christmas scene and they would have like a little train and stuff that went around in there.
Oh, cute.
That's
That's
what I'm
fun.
remembering anyway.
I need to take Jack there.
Yes.
That'd be fun.
You should.
It's more geared towards little kids, so I should take him soon. Because I don't
Agreed.
think it's great for older kids as much. From last looking at their website.
Yeah, no, I think it is definitely like little kids type children as opposed to big kids type children.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Seattle Science Center, which is also just right here,
Mm-hmm.
is, I would say that's more like young to maybe as far as upper elementary.
Yeah, I was gonna
is
say
what that's
elementary
geared
school.
to. Yeah, that's pretty much geared towards elementary, whereas I
Yeah.
feel like the Seattle Children's Museum is younger than that. Mm-hmm. Right?
Okay, Ryan,
Yep.
what are you going to miss about our podcast?
Oh boy. I'm definitely gonna miss hearing about places I haven't been and getting excited about other places, especially because so many of our guests have shared things that I never even would have thought about looking up to see if it existed.
Yes.
You know, and things where it's this really unique experience or sight or tidbit or off the beaten path sort of a thing that I never would have thought about but would totally enjoy seeing. What about you?
Yeah, I think the same. I think that and like having guests on is more complicated and part of why, I mean, the main reason I think why we're starting a different podcast that does not involve guests. I mean, combined with like, it's hard to get excited about travel right now without travel happening. It's
Well,
like,
'cause it's been 2 years of this now.
Yeah.
I think that's part of it too is, you know, when we're not traveling and other people aren't traveling as much, it's, yeah.
So now like guests, it's, I don't know, it's like not, we're not gonna be talking to anyone about recent trips, or most people, we're not gonna talk about recent trips as much. And it's not like we're making a ton of plans for our travels,
No.
or so it's like getting not as exciting to dream about travel at this stage either. But I loved having on guests, getting to either connect with friends in a new way,
Yep.
and getting to talk about a topic that usually like you don't devote as much time to just in life, you know, like that dedicated time we had just to talk about travel was fun, and to really dive into somebody's trip and hear those details, and or getting to meet new people, and like what a fun way to get to have a conversation with a new person, you
Yeah.
know, with like talking about travel, like, and so yeah, and just like hearing about places that like were never on my radar. Or I think also I liked when guests had different travel styles than us, because it felt like getting to experience it in a way where you're like, wait a minute, how could you not have a hotel reservation? Like, what does it even look like to not have a hotel reservation? Like,
Yeah.
that is never something I don't think I'll ever do that. But like,
No,
unless
not if I have any sort of say in the matter.
yeah. But like, how interesting to consider that and hear the details of like, so what does that mean when you get somewhere, and why do you enjoy that, and just things like that. Or like, I don't know, our guest who like did that crazy trip to Mongolia, like from what, the UK or something.
That like cross like in the car.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm ever gonna do that unless I was like
Nope.
forced to, and who's ever gonna force me to do that? But it was so interesting to get to hear like the details of that. So, and that I mean, and you can listen to other podcasts about it too, but I like that we got to ask the questions that we care
Yeah.
about and actually get to interact with the person.
Yeah.
And then it was also fun having a platform to share about our travels on.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this off air, but I think we will come back to this feed to share about our trips in the future, because it'll be fun
Yeah.
to get to gush about trips we're on, and like
Yes.
share about a lot of stuff still, and that's like part of what I think about now when I travel is like, what can I share about on the podcast?
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure.
And that makes travel even more fun for me, to have like another reason to remember the details of that restaurant I went to, or what was the name of that place, you know, things like that. It's just a fun way of knowing like, ooh, I get to like recap this later and share about it. So I think we'll come back. So stay subscribed, everybody. And we'll come back. We'll randomly, like a year from now, 2 years, 5 years, I don't know. We'll pop up and, you know, you'll get to hear about our travel still. Yeah. What things have changed in your life since we started
I mean, besides
the
COVID?
podcast? Besides COVID. Yeah, what else in your life? Like what moments have happened
I don't
between
know.
then and now?
I don't know that besides COVID, there's been a whole lot that's changed in my life.
You moved?
Oh, I guess so. I guess I did move. I didn't move that far, though. I feel like a ton more has happened in your life. Because you moved far.
Several times.
You met a guy.
Yeah.
You married a guy.
You were in my wedding.
I was
That
in
was
your wedding.
fun, yeah.
It was fun. It was a very fun wedding.
Good. I'm glad. I know. I think everything has changed in my life. I started a new
Well,
career.
I was going to say, you started multiple new jobs.
Yeah.
And yes, you're right, a new career even.
Yeah, lots of things have changed for me. Do you think travel's gonna come back in the same way ever? Like, what do you think is permanently changed with travel?
Well, I can tell you some things that I hope are permanently changed.
Okay, what do you hope? Like, what's the positives here?
What I hope is permanently changed is that airlines let you change your reservation without tacking on a bazillion fees and just for the difference.
Just knowing, like, hey, life happens, and sometimes that
Yeah.
ticket you bought like 9 months ago.
Like, you need to
It's
change
different.
it to a different one. And I mean, I totally understand, and it seems reasonable to me that if the price has changed, you'd pay the difference in price. That makes sense. But, like, a change fee, right? Like, I'm charging you because you've changed your ticket,
Yeah.
seems a little... I'm sure that there are some legit reasons that you could come up with for it, but because of its technology, like, it's not like you're paying a human to do that.
Yes. Also, like, with how full flights have been, it's not like they can't sell that seat.
Right.
So it doesn't even feel like you can have the reason of like, oh, but now that seat, like, we're just going to go unsold and we're going to lose money. Like, I don't...
Yeah.
I mean, yes, airlines have certainly lost a lot of money recently.
Yeah.
But, like, the 2 flights like, going to and from Hawaii, now this was Hawaii, but still, it was Hawaii off season. Like, they were full flights.
Yes.
So, like, if we needed to change to a different flight, I think they would have sold those tickets. Also, here's another reason that airlines should not do that is, have you ever had your flight info just changed? They just, like, changed what time?
Yes.
That happened to me.
And sometimes they change it in a way that I can't do.
Uh-huh. Yeah, because they don't know all your logistics, and they don't
No.
ask, and
No.
they don't give you a discount.
Nope.
Like, you don't get anything out of it. So actually, my flight home from Hawaii, they changed to much later in the day. So we were going to get home, like, in the afternoon at some point.
Yeah.
And we got home at, like, I don't know, like 9:30 or 10 p.m., like, before working the next day.
Oh my gosh.
And I even because they changed it, like, at least a month out, maybe more than a month out. So with a lot of time, but still, like, I feel like I should get some sort of voucher.
Yeah.
Or, like, we're going to give you, like, a free drink on the plane. Something. Some sort of, like,
Yeah.
like, understanding of, we have disrupted your plans.
Yeah.
But, like, what if it was a flight, I don't know, like, it was fine. I don't like getting home that late, but whatever. But, like, they don't know that. They don't know
Right.
what else I had going on.
I've had things shift, and I don't remember now how I adjusted for it, but when I was going to and helping do some of the camps in Eastern Europe, right, Central and Eastern Europe, like Slovenia, Croatia, and I would often leave right after school got out. And so the time or the day actually made a difference because I was maybe still at work. And I've had them shift those times on me where it's like, Like, I literally cannot do that because I'm still at work. And I'm not allowed to take that day off work.
Yeah.
Right. And so, like I said,
Totally.
I don't remember how I dealt with that. I don't remember what we ended up doing. We were able to figure something out. But yeah, they just do that. And I understand that sometimes they need to do that.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. Like, just an acknowledgement of...
Yes. Or I want to hear the reason. I've never, because if you get the email that's
Yeah.
like, oh, by the way, here's your new flight info. I think at one time I didn't even get an email. I just like logged in and like noticed that it was different a number of years ago. But I've never heard why, and I would like to hear why. And I think that would even help me feel more understanding if they were like, oh, that flight no longer exists. You know, or like, because it's like, oh, maybe like they just had to cancel that flight because it wasn't full enough by a certain date. Like, who knows? But I would like, but anyway, I think if that's fine, if we're all just like going to live with airlines doing that, then they should continue to live with us doing the same thing.
Well, and especially since at least the way I know Alaska does it, I don't know if all the airlines are doing it the same way, but the way Alaska does it, they basically just put the money back in what they call your wallet. So it's not like they refund your money. They still get your money. It's just that you then exchange it for a different flight.
Oh, did you get to choose a different flight then?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't get to choose. They just said.
Oh no. I'm talking about their current policy that I want them to keep.
Oh.
Not when they rescheduled on me. No, they just automatically moved me to a different flight that time.
Yeah.
But what I'd like them to keep is that, I mean, so like from a financial standpoint, it's not that if they are flexible with that and not charging you change fees, it's not like they're losing money from that because they still have your money. It's still in their accounts or whatever. You just now aren't having to do it on that flight. It basically just becomes a credit with the airline that you can then use on another flight. If the other flight's more expensive, then you still pay the more expensive price. You know, all of those things. And to me, that seems totally reasonable. And I would like that to stay.
Well, and my hope with that is if airlines do have to keep competing with each other, and if some of them offer that, then maybe that will be an incentive for all of them to offer it.
Yeah.
Because then if like their competitors are doing a really good job with that and getting more customers because of that or whatever, hopefully that is the reason they would do it.
I mean, and I know for me, as a worried planner, anal retentive person, it's made me much more likely to buy a plane ticket earlier. Because like I did that because we were supposed to, my family, we were going to try and do the redo trip from the Disney trip that we did in 2020 when I went to go see my sister and then we all got sick.
Of COVID.
I mean, we don't know that it was COVID, but it very well could have been COVID. A lot of the symptoms match, but we don't know that. But we got sick and so didn't end up being able to do it, so we wanted to do a redo trip. And so I had actually already booked tickets for last year, 2021, in the same time of year, in February, thinking, because as a lot of people thought, we were going to be out of the pandemic by then and at least be semi back to normal. Disneyland wasn't reopened yet.
A year later.
But the reason I was like, I don't feel bad about buying the plane ticket, even knowing that things could change, is because they had that change, like the no change fee. So I knew that even if I bought it and things went wonky, I'd be fine. Otherwise, I wouldn't have bought the ticket.
Yes, totally.
Right? So I think it actually makes it more likely for some consumers like me to actually spend the money because I don't feel locked in.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah, I think it's made me more aware of reading that fine print.
Well, because you also had that thing with your...
with my honeymoon.
And because you bought the travel insurance, but it didn't cover
yes.
the actual instance.
I thought travel insurance meant if you can't take the trip, then you get your money back. And that is not true at all.
Yeah.
But it's really good to know. But maybe there is some travel insurance that really covers everything. I might be likely to like buy something like that if I had a really big ticket item. Not with like with domestic, probably not. But like with like a Europe flight, possibly.
Yeah.
Even if it covered like hotels, Airbnb, trains, like whatever, that would be a reason to get it.
Yeah.
I wonder how much people will continue to be timid about travel, or just more like hesitant about booking things. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel more hesitant about travel, even though I still want to do it and want to make it happen and have. I feel more hesitant about it, and I wonder how long I'll feel hesitant or like unsure about making travel plans.
Well, and the type of travel that you've done has been very different than the type of travel you did pre-COVID. Mm-hmm. You've done road trips and weekend getaways and all those things. And obviously other things in your life have also changed.
Yeah.
So you might have still been doing a lot of that anyway.
True.
But regardless, COVID had an impact on that.
Gotta say, with COVID, it like pays to be a planner. It feels
Yes,
like
it does.
And, I mean, the bummer is like a lot of planners are also less flexible people, and also plays.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It pays to be a flexible person, but it also like as far as like reading the fine print or thinking ahead
Yeah.
about different logistics, like I think that is like extra helpful right now
Yeah.
in these trying times.
Yeah. So Cheryl,
Yeah.
I think maybe we need to move to our next
Yes.
next event.
Yes. So now we are going to go to what's it officially called? The
I believe it's called the
Chihuly?
Chihuly Garden of Glass.
Yeah. And so we actually purchased these tickets as like a bundle.
Yep, with the Space Needle, because it's literally right at the base of the Space Needle.
Yeah.
And I think it saves $10 per ticket if
Which
you
is great.
get them together.
Yeah.
So
That's actually enough of a discount that was exciting.
yeah, I think so.
And this one we did not have to do a timed entry, but
Nope.
we did for the Space Needle.
Yep.
Yeah. So we're going to go head over there.
So Cheryl, we're in the
Yes.
outdoor portion of the Chihuly Glass Garden because it's actually literally a garden.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like kind of a glass garden in the sense of like even the indoor spaces feel like a garden because of all the pieces.
Yeah.
Like it feels landscaped in a way, even when it's
Yes.
just glass.
Yeah. But so
And
what
now
do
we're
you-
just in a garden.
and now we're in
and
a
there's
garden
also
with
glass
and stuff.
in it.
What do you think so far?
Oh my gosh, I love it. This space, I felt like I didn't know how much I cared to visit it or like prioritize visiting it before because it just looked like a garden, and I was like, oh, I can kind of see it from the other side of these trees.
Yeah.
Just when you're near the Space Needle. But the indoor space is way bigger than you think.
Oh yeah.
There's a ton of pieces in
There
there.
are.
That was really neat.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you like Chihuly, like it's just so much of his work in one space.
Yeah, and I mean, and it's very clearly Chihuly glass. If you've ever, I mean, Chihuly's a Seattle native, so we've grown up with Chihuly stuff, I
Yeah.
think, around. So if you're not familiar with Dale Chihuly as an artist,
Google it.
but like he has a very distinctive style, and so
Yes,
it's very
yes.
clearly, oh yeah, this is definitely Chihuly stuff, which is cool.
Yeah.
But now, can you? I'm interested. Can you tell me a little bit about? There was a big tall wall of not glass, but paintings
Yes.
that we saw. Can you share your thoughts on that?
Okay, we're gonna post this photo on our Instagram because you need to see this photo of these paintings to understand what I'm gonna say.
Yes.
But okay, now I know you feel the same way about art. There's times when I think art's amazing and I
Yes.
love it and I could look at it for a long time.
Yes.
And there's other times where I see art and I'm like, but am I supposed to be impressed?
Yes.
You know? And so this was one of those where there's been some non-glass artwork in this museum. There's not a
Yes.
lot, but there's like some
Yeah.
like sketches. It makes me wonder, like, did he sketch it out before he did it?
Right.
And maybe, I'm not sure. We are not reading many signs, so that might be part of it. But then there's this one wall of paintings, and I said, it's like you took an elementary school class field trip to this museum, and then you came back into the classroom and gave the children paint and said, now children, paint what you just saw in the museum. That's about the skill level I'm getting the vibes of. And also it looks like a bunch of kids' interpretation of the weird glass they just saw with like squiggles and color and all sorts of things. So that's my feeling about those paintings.
So let's just say that we were because it's in that part is indoor, and it has definitely a museum vibe where like everyone's really, really quiet.
Yes.
The lights are kind of
Yes.
dim and moody, And Cheryl just starts chuckling to herself.
Yeah. But man, this outdoor garden space, like there's all these colors of glass. They're like in the ground
Yep.
and huge.
Yeah.
Like I took glass blowing in high school and I keep just being like, how did he not drop that?
Yeah.
Because these pieces are massive and so impressive.
They are. Well, and then we came outside, and I'm guessing it was intentional, but again, literally right now, I cannot see a single cloud in the sky, which
Yeah.
is actually, nope, there's one, but it's very, very thin.
Wait, is that the part that's intentional?
No, sorry. But it's such a clear day, which is beautiful, but there's so many of these kind of round orb-shaped glass on the ground, and they all have reflections of the Space Needle in
Yeah,
them.
it's so fun.
And so there's like reflection after reflection after reflection of the Space Needle up behind it.
Yeah.
And because each different glass orb has a different pattern or a different color, they have slightly different looks, but it's all the Space Needle. I don't know. I just think it's very cool.
It's very cool. Yeah, honestly, like I highly recommend this museum. I thought, oh, we haven't been there. That's gonna be fun, and this has like been very cool to come to this space. So, yeah.
I think so too.
So we are inside the Mopop, which is our final stop of the day.
Yep. Mopop is an abbreviation for the Museum of Pop Culture.
It used to be called the EMP, which was the Experience Music Project.
Yep.
Same building,
Yep.
lots of the same exhibits.
Well, I
but
think-
they widened it. I think they just like
'Cause it's-
decided that they were more than they thought.
Yeah, because I think when it first started, it was just
Music,
music stuff. And then they slowly started adding other permanent exhibits.
like the sci-fi.
Yeah, there's a sci-fi, and there's a horror or something, and there's a fantasy something, and they get special things that come through here. Like I think the first time I actually came, it was a Muppets exhibition
Really?
that was here. Yeah,
Cute.
yeah,
That's fun.
But we actually just finished a special exhibition.
Yes.
Which one did we just finish, Cheryl?
The heroes and villains costumes from Disney movies, live action.
Live action, yes,
Yes.
because it's hard to have costumes from an animated feature.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
Yes, they're a lot less real.
And what did you think?
I liked it. Their exhibits here are fairly small,
Yeah.
but you still get I think they put in a lot to it, but like it's on the third story, and so we went through what, like 15, 20 minutes, maybe something like that?
Yeah.
Maybe longer.
Probably more like a half hour.
Okay. Yeah. And it was fun. It was so fun to see the clothes in person because they look so different in the movies.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we saw all sorts of characters. Most of them were from movies. Well, you said like you thought like after 2005,
Yeah, like early 2000s at the oldest for most of them.
with a couple exceptions.
One really cool one is the original Mary Poppins
Yes!
outfit that
Yeah.
Julie Andrews wore.
Yes. So that was
From
very fun.
1964, I think.
Yeah. But lots of newer stuff. But that was really fun. Like stuff from the show Once Upon a Time. They had like a row of like all these different Cinderellas, like 4 different Cinderellas, which I love Cinderella and all the remakings of it, so that was great. But yeah, it was really fun.
Yeah.
And now I think we're gonna go check out the rest of the museum.
Let's do it.
Yippee!
We just finished Mopop. When we last updated, what we had just come out of the Disney Heroes and Villains.
Yeah, so then we went to the rest of it. Well, not the rest of it, because we've both been there a couple times before, and it has a lot of stuff about music history, which is really fun if you're into music history, specifically like rock and Nirvana and like
Yep.
kind of that era. There's like a whole like guitar section where you can see all these guitars of like famous guitar players. So like if that's your jam, then like that's a lot of fun.
Yes.
So there are a lot of sections we skipped because we've both individually seen them before, and it's kind of like, okay, I've already seen those guitars.
Yeah, and I think both you and I we enjoy music, but we're not into music.
Yeah.
And a lot of those things is like, I don't know who half these people are,
Yeah.
or I've heard of their name, but don't actually care about
Yes,
their
yeah.
like, okay, it's their guitar, great. That doesn't mean a whole lot to us, even though it does to a lot of people. And so I think it's great if that's something you're interested in.
There's a very cool piece kind of in the center of the museum
Yeah.
that is like a giant column that's very wide with guitars and other instruments all around it.
Yeah.
that goes up like 3 stories, maybe.
At least 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really tall. And that's really fun. It's a very cool piece.
Yep.
And it's been there, I think, since it opened, probably.
I think so.
And then it's just a fun place to be as far as there are a lot of, like, pieces. Like, there's, like, the Ender Dragon in the entrance of the museum from when they had the Minecraft exhibit there, but they kept the Ender. So, like, there's stuff like that. It's just fun. It's to look at lots of things there.
Yeah.
We went to this indie video game
Yeah.
thing.
It's just a tiny, it's not a super big room, and they have a bunch of different computers set up with different video games designed by indie designers as opposed to a major like design company or production company that makes video games. Like there's no Xbox games, no PlayStation games or anything like that.
And we just like saw one that was available that was a 2-player. A lot of them were 1-player.
Yes.
But this one was a 2-player, and so we just kind of jumped on it.
Well, and also most of them are computer screens with like a mouse or something. This one was more old school, like arcade, where it had the big buttons, circle buttons, and one of the little joystick things. So we're like, ooh, let's try this one.
Yeah, and it was hilarious.
It was ridiculous.
Hilarious. Where you're a little character. We both got to be a character at the same time.
Yep.
And each level, your character was in a situation where it needed to do one action repeatedly.
Yes.
And it told you which color button. There were like 16 buttons.
Yeah,
and
something
it
like
kept
that.
changing which color they were.
Well, we didn't know that at first. So
Yeah.
it started where it said, do this action, which I think didn't it start with like
You had to pee.
pee in
Yeah.
a urinal?
Yes.
Because both of the characters were boys.
Yes.
Right, so you had to pee in a urinal.
Yeah.
And then all of the buttons were the same color.
You just
hit the button and then great. And then both characters do it and then it moves to the next thing. And then it introduces a new color and then half of the buttons stayed whatever the color was for peeing in the urinal and the other half of the buttons changed to whatever the new thing was, like fart like a skunk. I don't think that was the second one, but that was one that we did eventually.
Or you had to like swat salmon out of a river and you were a bear at any moment that you did it. And
you put on a bear costume.
It said bear, and then like you brush your teeth and it said like brusher.
Yes, but every time you went to a new, I don't know if the level's the right word, but like a new screen with a new action, you got a new color, and then every once in a while the buttons would also change where they used to be, so the colors would actually change.
So like in one of them you
They were
had to
backlit.
like you had to confess your love to a girl, and all of a sudden I was accidentally peeing in front of her.
And I think I farted on her.
Yeah.
And then of course the colors were somewhat similar, and so you'd look down. Eventually we figured out that to match the colors. So we'd look down, we hit the color that we thought it was, but it was the wrong color.
Yeah.
So ridiculous.
It was very, very silly. Not a lot of strategy.
No, which I like that in a game personally.
It was so funny.
It was really funny.
Honestly, though, the sound effects, because this was made in Tokyo, and the sounds, like every little action had like a human had made a singular sound that it did every single time you did that action. And so, what was my favorite one though? Not the bear. The bear, that was funny. I don't remember. There was another one I really liked, but they all had really funny sounds that they kept saying over and over.
It was we enjoyed it way more than we probably should have.
Yeah.
But we thought it was hilarious.
Yes, we played the entire game. And then so that we've talked on our podcast before about how fun it is at a museum where like it either explains things to you or it's interactive, and I think that's something I like about the Mopop is there are different like interactive screens for things.
Yep.
There are a lot of places where things are explained and there's information. So like we went through the fantasy section,
Which you had not been through before, which I didn't realize because I have several times and it's a lot of fun.
It was so cool to see like costumes from fantasy films of all sorts, including Buddy the Elf. I mean, they had all sorts of things.
And also some original costumes from Wizard of Oz. They had Harry Potter stuff. So
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, a big range of fantasy.
But if you were like, I don't know what this is from, it told you what it was from, but then also it was fun because they had like the different like the archetypes of characters.
Yeah.
And they showed like which type of character each one was, which is a fun detail.
Yeah.
I also love a fun museum with photo ops, and there were some different fun photo ops there, so we'll post those on our Instagram. We went to the sci-fi
Yep.
exhibit, which is fun.
It is. I do think that one is and I mean the fantasy one too, but I think even more the sci-fi one. If you haven't seen those shows or movies, I'm not sure how into it people would be.
Yes, because the ones that I hadn't seen, I wanted to quickly walk past and did not even care about looking at.
Yeah.
But the ones I had seen, it was really fun, like a Dalek from Doctor Who.
Yes.
That was lovely.
Yep. They've got 2 lightsabers from Star Wars. They have a Jawa.
Lots of guns from they just had like a gun
Yep.
wall. So if you
Yep.
like the pew-pews. We also got a little snippet of our new podcast, which you guys know about, I Slept Through Science, because there was this big orb that had a screen, and you clicked a button on a different screen, and you could make it into different planets, and Ryan started telling me about how the one that was Mercury was very inaccurate. But I thought it was pretty. So that was fun.
It's a projection from the inside on so it's a sphere, but they have a projector on the inside so you can change like the surface of what a planet looks like, and it looks like it's rotating because the projection from the inside actually is rotating as opposed to the actual orb rotating, and you can choose which planet or moon you want it to be. And yes, the one that was for Mercury was the only one out of all of them that didn't actually match the way that it would actually look with your eyes.
So it's weird that only one didn't match.
Yep.
That was strange.
Yep.
But it was pretty.
It was pretty.
Yeah, so what do you think? Like the things we did today, would you recommend them? Do you feel like we tried to cram too much in? Do you feel like this was a good length of day and amount of activities?
I think I've said this several times today. We did such a good job today. I mean, I think we really, I enjoyed all of the things that we did today, and I've done a number of them before, and I still felt like it was really fun and engaging. And I think the timing was really good.
Yeah.
Because, right, we met at 10 a.m. on a Saturday, drove over to Seattle. It took maybe 20 minutes or so. So it was probably, 10:30 by the time we were at Cary Park this morning. And then went through, and it's about 4:45 p.m. right now.
So if we were visiting Seattle,
we'd probably go find a place for dinner.
Yeah, and then we might go out again, or we might go crash wherever we're staying. So yeah, I think this feels like a really fun day for a visitor to Seattle.
Yeah.
Cary Park parking is free.
Yep.
And you find your parking spot near all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can walk everywhere. Yep. If it were raining, you would be outside walking in the rain some, but there's enough indoor places that you could kind of hop indoors and not be outside for a super long length of time.
Yep.
But I would honestly recommend all these activities.
Yeah. It's definitely not all of the highlights of Seattle. There's a whole bunch of things that we didn't do today.
Yes.
That are iconic, but you're not going to get all of them done in one day anyway.
Yeah, so this would be a good one of your days.
Yeah.
And a way to hit a lot of things while kind of being in one region, which is really nice.
Yes.
It's nice to not have to drive all the time.
And then pay for parking in a new spot or whatever.
Yeah.
Yep.
And 2 of the things we did were timed entry, both the Space Needle and the Mopop. So our strategy, which I would recommend, is we did our timed entry as almost one of the first things for our day and then the last thing for our day.
Yep.
And figured then however long any of these things take, as long as we get to our 11:30 and our 3 o'clock, we're fine. So I'm glad we didn't do them right back to back.
Yeah.
Because we ended up spending a lot of time in the Space Needle because it was so fun.
We did. We spent more time than we thought. And I think if we hadn't had the 3 o'clock at Mopop, we might have spent a little bit more time at the Chihuly Glass Museum or Garden. I don't think we would have spent a bunch more time.
But they did have a demonstration every hour, and we had to skip that and probably would have stayed.
Yep.
And then left after that.
And then probably left. Yeah. So I think we timed it pretty well.
And
in
it was
that
nice.
regard.
It was nice being able to eat lunch not in a hurry.
Yes.
I mean, we did it in a food court, so it was ezy to get our food pretty quickly. But it was nice, taking our time with lunch as well.
Yep. Agreed.
Oh, and we got Molly Moon's ice cream.
Oh, that's right.
I don't think we recorded this yet. In the bottom of the Space Needle, in the gift shop, which is pretty big.
Yeah.
there was a Little Molly Moon's ice cream sign, which is like a local ice cream place that has a couple locations in the Seattle area. They're really, really good ice cream. And I thought
And
they
it's
had
a woman-owned and operated
Oh,
business
really?
as well.
Oh,
yeah.
I love that.
Yep.
Great. Is her name Molly?
Probably.
I hope so.
Probably.
And I thought they had like a counter for Molly Moon's inside of the gift shop, and then we realized it looked like a vending machine.
Yep. It totally looked like a vending machine.
But it was pretty much a cooler with stacks of little pre-scooped cups of ice cream with lids on them. Like a miniature version of what you get like at the grocery store.
Yep.
And then some weird suction robot thing, and you clicked a little button just like on a vending machine for which one you wanted, and then it opened up the lid of the cooler and like sucked it up. We took a video. It's really funny. And then it drops it into the dispenser, and you get your ice cream.
Yep.
So delicious. Yes, it was January and we were eating ice cream outdoors, but it was so, it
like
was great.
40, 45 degrees.
And they
something
had
like
one
that, but-
flavor that was exclusive to the Space Needle. It was like
Correct.
like a creamsicle type of.
Yeah, it was like an orange. And the reason it's orange is because the original color of the Space Needle, when you hadn't realized that, had you?
No.
When the Space Needle was originally built, it was colored this really not now modern color of orange. And so I think that's why they did it as orange. And because a couple years ago, well, probably more than a couple years ago now, they painted the top of it orange for its 50-year anniversary or something like
That's
that.
right.
So they painted the same original color.
Yeah.
Again, but it's white or off-white, I guess.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah. So all really fun things. But also I would just say, like, go be a tourist in your own city.
Yeah.
We haven't been traveling very much, and I felt like we traveled today, even
Yeah.
though it was local. So, and I usually just take friends from out of town to these things, and I haven't had people from out of town in a while.
Mm-hmm.
So go explore your local cheesy touristy stuff. It's really fun, and maybe you haven't done it in a while.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Do it off season. What a great time when it's not
Yeah.
summer. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this I think kind of wraps up our last episode of the podcast, Ryan.
I mean, we may do a couple of little pop-ins from time to time, but yeah, that's the end of our regular episodes. 169. We didn't make it to 170. We're so close.
Oh, darn. Thank you guys for listening.
Yeah.
We really appreciate it.
Well, we're not going to be posting a whole lot more new, but on our Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, we are going to be posting pictures and videos from our adventure today. So if you aren't following us, you probably still want to go ahead and do that. We are at Timwy Podcast. That's at TMWY for Take Me With You Podcast on, like I said, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And so you can see probably more than we would normally post for an episode. I think we may have multiple posts sort of as a flurry to kind of show you some of the cool things that we got to do today.
Check out our new podcast, I Slept Through Science. We've released 2 episodes on this feed, but please go subscribe to it. It is wherever you're listening to podcasts, it's available there, but also you can watch us on YouTube. So whatever way you would like to experience that podcast is great. And you can also follow that podcast on social media at I Slept Through Science on everything other than, I think, Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter, I think, is at Slept Science.
Yep.
Because it was too many characters.
But we are taking questions, listener questions on that podcast. So if you have a question about a science-related topic, please send it to us in whatever way you want, because it'd be really fun for us to do some listener questions.
Absolutely.
Yeah. As always, thank you to Beth Reed Miller for the artwork, for Take Me With You, and for I Slept Through Science, actually.
Yep.
Check her out at Beth Is Something or at sit.stay.sketch. And thank you to Erica Corbin. How gracious of her to let us use her song that is Round the Globe. And please go check out Erica Corbin. She's so talented. You can listen to her music wherever music is sold or streamed.
Well, that does it for this podcast. But until we come again, whenever that may be, please still remember to take me with you.
Take me with you!
Can we get a sailboat chasing down the sunset as we float round and round the globe? Salty air and balmy nights, guided only by the lights above, and light little love. Oh, the world is out there waiting to explore, and all our troubles here want them to be